Now, the first question might be asked is, what is a polynomial, okay? A polynomial is
multiple numbers.
A polynomial is an equation like x cubed, x squared minus x plus 2. That's a polynomial. Polynomial could be a quadratic equation. These are what are referred to as polynomials. Now, regards to this question itself, verify that 2x minus 1 is a factor of 6x cubed plus 7x squared minus 2x plus 2. Okay? There's two ways of doing this. The first way of doing it is basically whatever your factor is, put it equal to 0. Okay? It goes across the other side, and this means that 2x equals 1, x equals a half. What this means is, if I replace x equals a half into this formula, the answer should be 0. It should turn the full thing into 0. That means it divides into a property. Okay, so let's see if this is the case. 6 times a half cubed plus 7 times a half squared minus 9 times a half plus 2. Okay? Put that into the calculator and we'll see if it comes out as 0. Okay? So what happens is it's going to be 6 times a half squared. I'm going to use 0.5 just because it's easier to write. Plus 7 times a half squared minus 9 times a half plus 2. We can see that it is 0. This verifies that x, because all this equals 0, when I solve this equation equals to 0, one of my answers would be x equals a half. I've just verified that x equals a half is a root. And if x equals half is a root, what you do is you work backwards. You can cross multiply out to 2. You get 2x equals 1. Bring out a 1. You get 2x minus 1 equals 0. This verifies that 2x minus 1 equals 0 is a factor. Okay? Next part of this question is find the other two factors. What we do to find the other two factors is something that we did in transition here. We do long division. 2x minus 1 brackets 6x cubed plus 7x squared minus 9x plus 2. What we do first and foremost is line up the first values in each one. How many times does 2x go into 6x cubed? 3x squared. Once you get 3x squared, what you do next, Rory, is you multiply them out. So 3x squared multiplied by 2x is 6x cubed, because you have to cancel each other. 3x squared multiplied by minus 1? Minus 3x squared. Now, when you're doing long division, it's important that you come in and you change the signs. You're taking them away. So this becomes minus 6x cubed plus 3x squared. What's 3x squared plus 7x squared? 10x squared. Next thing you do, you gotta borrow down that 9x. The next step is, once again, you're looking to match up your front numbers. What's 10x squared divided by 2x? 5x plus 5x. Multiply your 5x. You're now going to multiply 5x by, anybody? You're going to multiply your 5x by the minus 2x and the minus 1. And what do we get this time? 10x squared minus 5x. Go in. Okay. What you do next is the following. You multiply by minus 1. Minus 10x squared plus 5x. And you get minus 4x plus 2. The 2 comes down. Now you're in business. When you're doing these questions, they always divide in equally. When you know it's a factor, it has to divide in equally, okay? Now, what happens next is, you're now left with sizing up minus 4x and once again 2x. What's minus 4x divided by 2x? Minus 2. Okay? Minus 2. Now, what happens here is the following. What happens is, we now multiply minus 2 by 2x and we get minus 4x. Minus 2 gets multiplied by minus 1 plus 2. They don't currently cancel, but when you multiply, when you take them away, that comes a plus and that one comes a, and you get 0. Now, I'm going to tell you, this question works in, this method works in two ways. The first method is, because 2x minus 1 divides equally into this polynomial here, this means it's verified to be a factor. It is a factor. Okay? The next thing it does is, it tells us that it divides in this many times. Now, if I was to make this much simpler, and I was to ask you, from primary school, 3 into 12 goes how many times? 4. So basically, this one multiplied by this one equals 12. This is the same thing. This one multiplied again. Alright, so what happens, what I'm trying to explain here is the following. I'm trying to explain that the two of these, this here, which is 6x cubed, sorry, excuse me with that, 6x cubed plus 7x squared minus 9x plus 2, that equals two things now. It equals 2x minus 1 multiplied by 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. Does everybody understand that? It's the same thing as long division. Remember what I said earlier? If you have 12, if you have 3 into 12 and it goes 4 times, this one multiplied by this one equals the one in the middle. It's the same theory. Now, it wants the other two factors. Currently speaking, I only see two factors. This is a factor, and this one here is a factor. But this one here is a quadratic equation. Therefore, I can try splitting this one into 2 as well. So, what happens is, I'll do my reference number method. Okay, and what we get is minus 2 multiplied by 3 is minus 6. Break up minus 6 into plus 6 minus 1. 3x squared plus 6x minus 1x minus 2. 3x into x plus 2. Automatically the second bracket has to be exactly the same. And what we'll get here is 3x minus 1 bracket x plus 2. Now, what that does, in effect, is this here is now equal to, if I was to try and get 6x cubed plus 7x squared minus 9x plus 2, it's exactly the same thing as multiplying 2x minus 1 multiplied by 3x minus 1 multiplied by x plus 2. It's exactly the same thing.
You have to get it in 3 brackets.
Yeah, that's the first factor, that's the second factor, that's the third factor. Okay?